Hello everyone, and welcome to Noodle Journey, your destination for detailed and informative reviews of the instant noodle universe. And today I'm going to be looking at an interesting budget-friendly noodle offering from Acecook. This is their Hao Hao Saté onion flavor. Before we get started, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this content. Now, Acecook is a fairly well-liked Japanese noodle company with a lot of different product lines, but this will be the first time I've tried them, and it's not going to be a Japanese flavor. While they do make some varieties of premium Japanese ramen, they also make a lot of products for the Vietnamese market. And this line of Vietnamese noodles, called Hao Hao, and despite some research, I have no idea what that actually means, I'm sorry to say. This is one of their exports, a budget noodle branding with some pretty cool flavors. If you couldn't tell from the size, this occupies the same budget space as brands like Mama or Indomie, being around the same size and price as the offerings from those companies. Now, I had to poke around the internet to see what this satay word is supposed to be, because see, there's an Indonesian dish called satay that you might have seen in restaurants, which I've eaten before, that's spelled S-A-T-A-Y, which is a skewered grilled meat dish served with peanut sauce. Then there's a Vietnamese condiment sauce called satay, spelled this way, S-A-T-E with an accent, which is made from stuff like lemongrass, chili pepper, and garlic. I'm inclined to believe that the condiment is what this is going to be flavored like, but the ingredients on this package are so nondescript that I have no idea what flavor it is actually going to be. So this will be a total surprise. This was 69 cents at my favorite Asian grocery store, which is certainly a great price tag for a bag of instant noodles. You should be able to find this online on places like Yamibuy or Amazon in bulk for about the same price to package ratio, and there is also a cup version for a little bit more money. And from what I can find online, that looks to contain more dried vegetables than this pack does. Speaking of dried vegetables, let's check out the nutritional info and then open this up. This may be a small pack of noodles, but the sodium content is pretty high for its size. This is 1,760 milligrams, or 77% of your daily allowance. So that's something to think about if you need more than one of these to satisfy your appetite. Inside the package, we've got a block of very thin, crumbly noodles, a soup powder, and an oil packet. The noodles are wheat flour with a lot of flavor enhancers, including fish sauce, which is pretty cool. They have a pretty distinct smell, and I'm pretty into it. That also accounts for their color. As you can see, they have an orangish brown tinge to them. The soup powder seems to be a very basic salt-sugar MSG combo with the very nondescript spices listed in the ingredients, and of course dried spring onion. And finally, the oil packet contains palm oil and more non-specific spices. Cooking these is a fairly simple steeping process. We're going to put all this stuff into a bowl, pour 400 milliliters of boiling water in, and then just cover it with anything you have handy, like a plate, for 3 minutes before you stir and eat. So let's take care of that. Okay, here we go. Let's give this a stir. Now, I smelled both the powder and the oil as I was putting them in the bowl, and the powder smelled like onion powder. The oil smelled like onion-infused oil with maybe a tiny touch of garlic. And stirring this now, I smell only more onion. I don't get either of the satay aromas that I was expecting, neither peanuts nor chili. But if you love onion, like love onion, then you're going to like the way this smells. Okay, time to taste. Interesting. All right, the noodles are thin, but they're firm. They remind me a little of Mama's noodles, actually. Maybe a little bit less bouncy in their texture. They retained a nice bitiness, but they might need to steep longer if that bothers you. Mixed in with this broth, I don't really notice any of the fish sauce flavor in the noodles standing out. But overall, they're not terrible. They're pretty good. I wasn't expecting super premium noodles at this price point. I've had better, I've had worse. 6 out of 10 for the noodles. Now the spiciness. The package didn't single out anything like chili pepper being in this, but there is definitely something tickling the back of my throat in the very slightest way. It's really, really mild. It honestly might be just the abundance of onion giving my taste buds a little zest, but I really do think there's a tiny hint of chili powder in here. If you ever try this, let me know if you taste it too, but I think it's there. But anyway, super mild, barely noticeable unless you're crazy intolerant of spice, and it's not exactly the chili pepper heat you would expect from Vietnamese Saté sauce. I'm going to give this a 1.5 out of 10 for spiciness, just to be safe. And so that brings me to the overall flavor of this bowl of noodles. Now, in the beginning of the video, I rambled on about Saté as either a skewered meat dish with spices and peanut sauce, or a chili garlic lemongrass condiment. And this is not really coming across as either of those. It's not spicy or garlicky enough to be the latter, and it doesn't remind me of grilled meat satay in any way, and it certainly has no peanut flavor that I can detect. This is also not what I would call a multi-layered flavor experience. So what this is a fairly basic salty onion soup. Aside from that very mild hint of whatever is hitting my throat as spice, all I can really taste is salt and onion and oil. A tiny touch of garlic beyond that. That's it. The salt isn't overpowering, but it is noticeable. You know what this whole thing reminds me of? Funyuns. Have you ever had Funyuns? Those puffy fried onion snack loops. I think they're a Frito-Lay product. That is exactly what this tastes like in a soup form. It's not actually bad, it's just, that's all there is to it. It's very simplistic. I also think that the seasoning oil is a little too much here compared to the amount of broth. It comes off a little greasy and oily to me. There's some very small flecks of dehydrated green onion in here, but they're not giving you any additional texture. I could have used a few more of those. That would have been nice, but it's 70 cents. So all in all, this is not totally unpleasant, especially if you like that kind of onion and vegetable oil flavor that you get from onion snacks. But there's just not much else to this beyond that, and I find it fairly middle of the road. I'm going to give this a 5.5 out of 10 as an overall score. Yeah, so this was a little surprising. I really didn't know what to expect from the flavor based on that satay word, but it turns out it's just a lot of onion flavor. I wouldn't say this is something I ever need to eat again unless I have a massive craving for onion flavor. But still, there are definitely worse, more boring noodles you could buy for 70 cents. And so I consider this a medium recommendation if you absolutely crave onions above all else, or are really into Funyuns and those kind of snacks. For everyone else, this is probably only best purchased as a curiosity, but hey, at least it's cheap, and you might like it more than I did. Acecook has other products in their Hao Hao product line that I'm hoping to review someday, so I'll check my nearby Asian markets next time I'm there to see what else they offer, and maybe we'll see some more successful flavors from them in the future. If you've tried this variety or any other Hao Hao noodles, please comment and let me know what you think of them. See you next time on Noodle Journey.